Wasteland Weaponistics Ep23, the Winchester P94 Plasma Caster. The Plasma Caster is a heavy plasma-based energy weapon that has been in nearly every Fallout game. It first appeared in Fallout 1 and has reappeared in Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 76. So the Plasma Caster, or Winchester P94 Plasma Rifle, as it was originally known, is a very strange weapon. One, because it originally used the name of a real-world company, Winchester Repeating Arms, who are famous for making lever-action rifles and shotguns. But in the Fallout universe, they seem to have moved at least some of their production to energy-based weapons. The description of the weapon in the original Fallout game reads, "A Winchester Model P94 Plasma Rifle, an industrial-grade energy weapon, firing superheated bolts of plasma down a superconducting barrel, powered by microfusion cells." I'm not exactly sure what industrial-grade energy weapon means. Maybe the P94 wasn't initially meant to be a weapon, and instead served a similar purpose to the 8-gauge industrial shotguns we have today that are used for removing excess buildup in large industrial furnaces. And in the Fallout universe, the military could have seen the plasma technology that Winchester created and wanted to use it as a weapon, like how in the real world the US military experimented with turning all types of things into weapons. For instance, like when they tried to make grenades out of Nerf footballs. We know the military adopted the P94 Plasma Caster, as in Fallout New Vegas, on the front of Future Weapons Today magazine, it reads, "Exclusive, Colonel Moriarty slams the venerable P94." Meaning the P94 had to be in service for some particular amount of time. How long had the P94 been in service? We don't know. The name of the Plasma Caster can sort of give us a clue. P94 could refer to the year it was made, as Winchester did for a long time just call their weapons model and then the year. For example, there's the Winchester Model 1873, Model 1895, 1897, and so on and so on. That would place the Plasma Caster at 1994, P94, Plasma 94. To me, that date doesn't seem right. That would make the Plasma Caster at the time of the Great War in 2077 to be over 80 years old. So then the Plasma Caster must follow Winchester's other naming convention. See, at one point, after World War I, Winchester decided to change how they named their firearms. They started at the number 51 with the Model 51 bolt-action rifle, and steadily went up from there. However, they seem to have abandoned that naming convention as well at some point, and currently their website goes back to the old style of the year. And they also seem to name their firearms like they're a comic book hero for some reason, with the Wildcat 22. Winchester's industrial shotgun name doesn't help us here either, as it's called the Ringmaster. Which to me sounds like a Yu-Gi-Oh card, not a huge 8-gauge shotgun that fires specialty ammunition. So, no help on what P94 means or how old it is. What we do know is how old the plasma pistol from Fallout 3 in New Vegas is. During the Mothership Zeta DLC in Fallout 3, you can find a terminal which belonged to a man known as Reed Underwood. Reed was a member of the Quaere Virum organization, or in English that means to seek truth. They were an organization that was exposing the government's cover-up of aliens. Reed in his terminal talks about a plasma pistol, the MPLX Nova Surge. The date on the terminal is 2063. Though we note that sometime before 2063 is when the Fallout 3 plasma weapons were adopted. So what point that would put the P94's adoption, I don't know, maybe it is 1994. Either way, this puts the adoption of plasma-based weaponry before the adoption of power armor. You see, T-45 wasn't adopted in the Fallout universe until 2065, so you have a good amount of time where plasma weapons were just infantry weapons. Even the heavy Plasma Caster was still an infantry weapon, not a power armor infantry weapon. Given this information, I'm guessing that the Plasma Caster isn't to be seen as like an infantry rifle, but more meant to be a replacement for the recoilless rifle. Or perhaps it's something more akin to an obsolete class of weapons known as infantry support guns. These were very small, lightweight, direct-fire howitzer-style guns that could easily be transferred by infantry. However, they were mostly obsolete before World War II, being replaced by things like recoilless rifles and grenade launchers. There were some existing during World War II, but by that time the concept had gotten so large that they were basically just artillery pieces. Not like the small little contraptions they were during World War I. In New Vegas, we find out that Colonel Moretti was working with Repcon on making a new plasma-based weapon to replace the P94. This would end up being the weapon we know as the plasma rifle, or in the Fallout universe's lore, it is the urban plasma rifle. In Fallout Tactics, we find another version of the P94. The P94 in Fallout Tactics is a heavily slimmed down version that's turned into a shoulder-fired rifle. I'm guessing that this version of the P94 competed against Repcon's urban plasma rifle for adoption, and obviously it lost. In Fallout 76, the plasma caster is acquired from the US Secret Service, who had been protecting the gold bullion inside of Vault 79. Whether or not the Secret Service adopted this weapon is a mystery, as Bethesda just shoved a bunch of different weapons and armor into the inventory of regs. Regs is where you go to exchange gold bullion for armor and weapon plans, and he really has everything from armor that was previously in plant-infected vaults to Brotherhood of Steel stuff. So don't take his inventory as too canonical, if you get what I mean. The Wastelanders promotional artwork featuring the Secret Service power armor isn't even using a weapon acquired from the Secret Service. It is seen holding a Gauss shotgun, which is acquired from the Settlers, a completely different faction. Well, I think that's enough pre-war lore. Let's see how the venerable old plasma caster is holding up in the nuclear wasteland. In Fallout 1, they can be seen being used by the Mariposa supermutants. Plasma casters can be found in the Mariposa military base as well, further confirming its adoption by the pre-war military. The dwarf, known as Zack, will sell you one of these for a hefty price. That's about it for Fallout 1. In Fallout 2 is where we find them being used by the Enclave, and again by the Mariposa supermutants. Plasma casters are found all around Navarro and Navarro Underground, as it is an Enclave base. Now, in Fallout 1 and 2, there is a special version called the Turbo Plasma Caster. The description reads, a modified Winchester P94 Plasma rifle. The plasma bolt chamber has been hot-wired to accelerate the bolt formation process. In Fallout 1, it is acquired from Smitty, a blacksmith living in the boneyard. If you help fix the hydroponics lab, Smitty will upgrade your regular plasma caster into a turbo one. In Fallout 2, you can get the turbo plasma rifle from multiple locations. You can get a standard plasma caster and upgrade it, much like in Fallout 1, or you can find one out in the wasteland. The robbers in the caverns at New Reno have a couple, and a member of Frank Corrigan's Enclave Control Company named Granite has a turbo plasma rifle as well. So Smitty seemed to have been manufacturing these enough for even the Enclave to take notice of them. And I wonder, did Smitty make the one for Granite, or did Granite take it from someone out in the wasteland? Like I mentioned earlier, in Fallout Tactics, we don't find the standard P94 plasma caster, and instead we find this more rifle-style model. We find this version of the P94 being used by the techno-worshipping faction known as the Reavers. We also can find the humanoid robots of the Calculator using them, and a few members of the Midwest Brotherhood of Steel have been seen using this rifle, like Thais. His name is spelled T-A-I-S, and he is a member of the Elite Dagger Squad. Next, we go to Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. Remember, this is the only fully non-canon Fallout game, so everything in this section is not canon. In Phobos, we find the Turbo Plasma Rifle. It seems to be a slimmer model than the standard P94, but not as small as the rifle version found in Fallout Tactics. Its description reads, this weapon is an upgraded plasma rifle that fires much quicker and with deadlier shots. 1 or 2 shots from this piece will reduce an enemy to a fine pile of ash. This version is a lot different than every other plasma caster. Not only is it full auto with a very high rate of fire, but the plasma it fires is blue and not green. It almost acts more like a laser weapon than a plasma weapon. It should be noted that this version of the plasma caster also does electrical damage, making this a very strange weapon. So, now we move on to Fallout New Vegas. In Fallout New Vegas, plasma casters are pretty rare, but there are multiple of them. A very badly damaged one can be found being sold by the energy weapon arms dealers, known as the Van Graffs, at the Silver Rush. Orion Moreno, a former member of the Enclave, can be equipped with one if you complete the Enclave Remnant questline before the Battle of the Hoover Dam. He will spawn with one. In the DLC Lonesome Road, the Marked Men can be found equipped with plasma casters. This is rather odd, as neither the NCR or Caesar Legion standard infantry are normally equipped with these. Now, there are NCR that use plasma casters. They are the irradiated heavy troopers encountered at the Long 15 outpost. Standard NCR heavy troopers cannot be seen with the plasma casters. The NCR Colonel Royez is equipped with a plasma caster as well. He is the commanding officer of the Long 15 outpost. Why only his heavy troopers are equipped with plasma casters is hard to say. In general, his heavy troopers are much better equipped than the heavy troopers stationed elsewhere, like at Hoover Dam. The Long 15 heavy troopers have access to Gatling lasers, plasma casters, miniguns with armor-piercing ammunition, and just much better than the Hoover Dam heavy troopers, which have no real energy weapons at all, and usually just have standard LMGs and maybe some melee weapons. For the next enemy that has one of these, I think if you're familiar with this series, you know what's coming. This enemy has come up every time an energy weapon has come up, but to no surprise, the YT-17 trauma harnesses are able to spawn with plasma casters. Remember, for some reason, the YT-17 trauma harnesses can spawn with any energy weapon in the game. In Fallout New Vegas, there is a singular modular attachment, the Plasma Caster HS Electrode. This increases the rate of fire slightly. Also in New Vegas, there is one unique plasma caster. This is the Smitty Special. I'm 99% sure it was made by the same Smitty we meet in Fallout 1. He seems to have great knowledge about upgrading plasma casters. The Smitty Special is able to fire full auto, turning this weapon into sort of an energy-heavy machine gun. The only real problem with it is how little ammo capacity it has. The weapon burns through its 20 microfusion cells really quickly. Smitty also seems to have cut the barrel length shorter for some reason, so the actual effectiveness of this weapon is kind of diminished and almost seems more like a novelty. Leaving the west, we head to Fallout 76. The Plasma Caster was added to Fallout 76 with the Wastelanders expansion. This weapon, as mentioned earlier, is acquired from the United States Secret Service in exchange for gold bullion. One change from previous plasma casters to Fallout 76 is the ammo type. All previous versions run on some sort of microfusion cell. In Fallout 76, it runs on plasma cartridges, much like the plasma rifle. This is a little odd, as there is another plasma-based heavy weapon in the game, the Gatling Plasma. The Gatling Plasma runs on plasma cores instead of plasma cartridges. It is the only weapon in the game to use cores. I'm guessing Bethesda chose to have the P94 run on plasma cartridges to reflect the weapon's rifle past, and so that players were not burning up plasma cores in just 20 shots, as usually plasma cores carry 500 plus. The Fallout 76 version has multiple attachments compared to previous versions. There are 3 different barrels, a standard, a long, and a sniper. The sniper barrel is the iconic one, with the standard barrel seemingly being modeled after the Fallout Brotherhood of Steel version, and the long barrel being a new kind of coned disc design. Other than the barrel, there are different receivers, and nothing really special about these receivers. They're just kind of standard Fallout 76. All of the mod attachments are also acquired from the Secret Service for gold bullion. There is no unique version of the Fallout 76 Plasma Caster at the time of making this video. Since the Plasma Caster is acquired from gold bullion, there are no factions that are equipped with one of these. There is also, at the time of making this video, no skins for the Plasma Caster as well. And I have to say, that's about it for the Winchester P94 Plasma Caster. A venerable weapon that's become very iconic within the Fallout franchise. If you would like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to this channel, as well as my main channel, Trooper Fofo, where I feature random gameplay content as well as all weapon showcases of random FPS games. Alright, see you later. Bye.